Welcome to this session. My name is Thomas Makungu. I'll be taking you through principles of management, and today I want to discuss the management and organizational environment. What is organizational environment? Is This is the surroundings. It includes the institutions and forces surrounding an organization that affect performance, operation, and resources. The key word here is surrounding. So we have learned environment from all the olden days, that environment is what surrounds you. So organizational environment is what surrounds that particular organization. And these forces influence the way this organization will operate, includes affecting its operation, affecting its accessibility to the resources. It includes all the elements that exist within and without the organization's boundaries, and have the potential to affect portion or all of the organization. So it goes beyond just just within the organization, but also outside the organization. So it includes all the factors within the organization and outside the organization that affects the operations of the organization. The organization environment can be categorized into three. We have the general environment, the task environment, and the internal environment. As illustrated, we have the internal environment is what is happening inside the organization, and then there is the task environment affects the organization, but it's outside the organization, and it impacts on the performance of the organization, and it affects the organization and other related organizations within a particular industry. For example, it can affect the hotel sector or the tourism sector. It can affect the food industry. It can affect uh, the manufacturing industry, or it can affect the education industry. So that's the task environment, affects related industry or related organizations. And then we have the general environment, affects every organization. And in this general environment, the organization has less influence. The only thing that the organization can do is to adjust its management style so that it can adapt to the changes that comes with that particular environment. The general environment of an it's also referred to as the macro environment, is all those forces affecting the organization directly. These external forces are the political legal environment, the economic environment, the technological environment, the socio-cultural environment, and the ecological environment. We'll start with technological environment. Technological environment includes changes in technology that affect way organizations operate and service they provide. So the technology that we are using has impact on the way the organization operates and has impact on the services that we provide. It affects the product design and the production process. It affects the processes. It affects sales and marketing. It affects communication. It affects revolution. It brings in. It affects the revolution of the industry, revolution of industrialization. We can look into different aspects that has happened, changes that have happened due to changing in technology. Look at the phone. We have the oldest phone and we have the latest version of the phone. From a phone that was just used to call, to phone that could call and send SMS, and to the phone that can access the internet and do several things. So this is an example of a flexible phone that we are currently seeing in the market. We are yet to see transparent phones. So the industry is evolving with time. Look at what had happened to the television. We moved from the 1930s to 2010s, and currently we have smartphones, smart TVs in the market and in our homes. So technology is changing. For example, iPod replaced the Walkman. There's what we used to call a Walkman, some kind of music player. It was replaced by the iPod. Compact disc replaced the compact cassette. Computers replaced the typewriters. DVDs replaced the video cassettes. As we speak, iPods, CDs, DVDs are not being used, and the computer is facing a lot of competition from many other devices. This means that in management, change is constant. Change is always happening, and therefore we have to keep up with the changing environment. The economic environment, these are forces that are most likely to affect the organization's production of goods and services and results in the general state of both domestic and world economy. These components include the interest rates and inflation, consumer price index. The interest rates, if the interest rates are high, it means that the cost of money or the cost of capital becomes high and therefore reduces money in circulation. Consumer price index, when the consumer price index is high, that means the purchasing power of the consumers becomes lower. Fiscal policy, this has to do with the government spending and taxation, how how much they are going to collect from individuals and how they are going to spend it. The more they spend, the higher the amount of money in circulation and improves on the economy. Monetary policy has to do with the interest rate, which is controlled by the central bank. And then you have unemployment rate. If we have high unemployment rate, it means that we have high dependence rate, and that means the economy is not good. Wage rates, it cuts on both sides. When people receive high wages, they have more money to spend. On the other hand, when we have to pay more wages, it means that it costs much to produce, so it brings problem. GDP is gross domestic product. If it is high, it means that we have improved economy. The importance of socio-cultural factors that companies should analyze are, so socio-cultural factors, socio-cultural environment is another environment that organization needs to pay attention to. So we have factors that we need to look into. Some of them include demographics. Demographics is the study of population, includes age, gender, which is not included there, population density, geographic distribution, education levels, family size. All those have to be studied for us to operate well. As they change the way you operate. Social classes, we have high class, these are customers, or they are people who have high income, and then we have middle class, and then we have the low class, and we have culture, which is also a very big element of the environment that organizations need to understand. It is reflected in the languages that we use, the religions or the beliefs that we have, the artifacts, the values, and the norms. All these are reflected in the culture. So changing culture means it will affect the way we will produce, because culture will vary from community to community, and culture will change from time to time. So it's important that organizations study very well the culture. And then lifestyle, way people live, include it includes their habits, their attitudes, their values, and their preferences. Ecological environment is another element that we need to analyze, include all the natural resources that organizations use as inputs to production process, or affects or affected by the various business processes. Natural resources include minerals, crude oil, vegetations, animals. All these are required, all these or part of them might be required in the production process in some of the organizations, and therefore if affected, then they will affect the way we operate. There is increased depletion of raw materials as the organizations are harvesting a lot of natural resources. There's increase in population because of production processes and the emission of waste products. And then there's increased government intervention in terms of, like in Kenya, we have NEMA, that is the National Environment Management Authority, that is tasked with the work of managing the environment. Due to the increased negative impact on the environment by the organizational activities, some organizations are now developing strategies and practices that support environmental sustainability. So we need to have strategies that will support the environment. The task environment, as I said earlier, it affects the industry, that is related organizations. The task environment is inclusive of those sectors that have direct working relationship with the organizations. They include customers, suppliers, labor, and competition. Customers are the final purchasers of our goods and services, and therefore they bring revenue to the organization. So the change in number of customers or in behavior of the customers will affect how we operate. A study of customer will help managers determine what are the customers needs and wants to be satisfied. Analysis of customer profiles allows the organization to develop its organizational strategy and structure in order to deliver a particular good or service that best suits needs of the customer. It's important that we understand the need of the customer so that what we deliver is what the customer needs. That way we can survive in the market. Suppliers are people and organizations who provide raw materials um, to the organizations, and the organization use to produce its output. So suppliers provide raw material and other supplies that are required in our operations. So we need to have good relationship with our suppliers. Suppliers also include those who provide support services. Suppliers availability and pricing strategy does affect the organization's level of revenue. And so the availability of suppliers is very important. So if suppliers are few, it means that they are likely to charge higher prices, and they'll affect our profitability as organizations. So it's important that we analyze this particular element of the environment so that we can progress well. Labor markets is very important. Labor markets include people available for hire. It also includes how are they well trained? Are they skilled to do the jobs that we want? Research shows that workers with high level of competences, knowledge, and training increase the overall performance of the organizations. So if we hire well-skilled staff, then the level of production is likely to increase. The next element we need to analyze in the task environment is competitors. Competitors are other organizations in the same industry or type of business providing goods and services to the same customers. So when one organization is providing goods and services or targeting similar customers or same customers, then the other organization that we are in the same industry targeting same customers, that is a competitor. So they can be one, two, or several competitors in an industry. It's important that we understand our competitor, we understand our products, we understand what the competitor is offering so that we can be able to differentiate our products and compete well and build a competitive edge that is necessary for our production. The nature of competition available influences the strategy of the organization. The internal environment. We are done with the task environment. Now we are in the organization. The internal environment consists of the employees, management, resources, skills or technology, and the shared organizational culture. Analysis of the internal environment allows top management to assess the strengths and weaknesses of the organization. This assessment has implications of human resource management policies, procedures, employee training, and development. Uh, organizational culture. Organizational culture is the informal or formal norms and beliefs that control how individuals and groups in an organization interact with each other and with people outside the organization. So we have the formal culture and the informal culture. The formal culture is the one that is not recorded anywhere and but has has been has been adapted by many people in the organization and has become a culture, has become a way of doing things. That's what we refer to as informal culture. The formal culture is what is prescribed and embedded in the regulations and policies of the organization and well documented. So it is structured and people has to obey the culture. So culture can be good, can be bad, especially the informal one, which is not well recorded or well structured. But so we need to identify the cultures in the organization. The good ones are to be encouraged, and the bad ones are to be discouraged. Cultures has the following functions in the organization. They control behavior within the organization. They encourage stability and they provide source of identity. How we behave in organization forms our identity. This is how they do things. This is how they handle customers. This is how they deal with suppliers. This is how they manage the environment. So that is part of culture. It encourages stability because we have a way of doing things and that forms the stable uh, behavior in organization, controls behavior, of course. Culture drawbacks. The drawbacks of culture is that they are barrier to change and improvement. When people have a way of doing their things, so they reject change. They don't want to change because they want to keep the status quo. Barrier to diversity. We don't entertain new things, new culture, new way of doing things because we have our way and we don't want to diversify. Barrier to cross departmental and cross organizational cooperation. We cannot, if in our department we do things this way, then it becomes difficult to deal with other people in the other departments or even in the other organization. Barrier to mergers and acquisition. Mergers means bringing on board new people, new culture. So if we are bringing in new people, new culture, then it becomes difficult for the organization that is strictly on the culture. How does current organization environment affect the hotel industry? So I would like you to think widely the way hotel industry is today and analyze the environment of a hotel industry from the from we start from the internal environment of the hotel industry and then we go to the organization not organization but the task environment of the hotel industry and then we go to the general environment of the hotel industry. uh, I would like you to do that individually or in groups and discuss and see how the hotel industry is affected. Traditionally hotel room has just a bed and the walls and the lighting, just the basics. But what has changed over time? As you do the environmental analysis of the hotel industry, then you will understand how the environment affects management of various sectors. So that will be part of your homework. I think you're going to handle it uh, in as individual, or you can get a partner so that you can do that particular homework. That ends the end. That marks the end of my presentation. If you have any questions or any comments, you can email me to tmakungu@ttu.ac.ke. You can call me on that phone number 0722 39 36 53, or you can WhatsApp me on 0101 393 653. So those are my contacts. I welcome comments and I welcome questions. Thank you for listening.